I'm Skitchy from the Paul Reed Smith PTC, and I'm here today to talk to you about seasonal acoustic guitar care. I'm focusing on the SE line today, but these care techniques will apply to all PRS acoustic guitar lines. Acoustic guitar storage and display is a little trickier than your normal solid body guitar. The entire inside of it is an open pore environment, so it will react to humidity levels much more dramatically than a solid body will. The best place to keep it is in its case with a humidity control system. But if you would like to have it out on display or easy to pick up and play, there are a few things that you should think about. The first thing to think about is the room and the environment which you have it in. You want it at an optimal temperature and humidity setting. You want to keep your temperature in the mid-70s, 73 to 75 degrees is optimal, and your relative humidity at 45 to 50%. Really, if it's comfortable for you, it's going to be comfortable for your guitar. The other thing to think about is keeping it out of direct sunlight, away from baseboard heaters, air conditioned vents, return vents, anything where there's a draft running through the room or a second source of heat. Those can dry out your guitars and cause them to have issues. If you do decide that you don't need to have it out on display at all times, you should store it in your case. It gives you a lot more freedom in selecting a place to store your guitar. In a case, in a closet is a great idea, but you want to have a humidity control system. What that is some sort of way to humidify and dehumidify your guitar. There are many solutions on the market, everywhere from the little sponge in a cup to a Bluetooth system that delivers humidity when it needs to. The second thing that you want to look for is a meter of some sort. So you want, even if it's just a humidity meter that you put in the case, there are some options that have like a Bluetooth meter where you can check on your phone, but you want to know what's going on inside the case. Either of those are fine. As long as you have those two in place, you can store it in your case for long terms. If you do plan to store it long term, there are some other factors to think about. You want to loosen your strings, not slack, but about a step and a half down so that they're loose, but you still want some tension. Too much tension is bad for storage. No tension is also bad for long-term storage. Another thing you want to think about when preparing for long-term storage is have a humidifier and a meter that you know and trust. And you can trust that if you walk away from it for a few months that you know what it's going to do inside that case. So at this point it would be fine to ship it if you have to ship it back and forth somewhere, but for long-term storage, you also want to avoid places like storage units that are not temperature controlled, sheds, the attic. You should still have it in a closet in the house or in a temperature controlled storage unit, as over long term, if the outside's not temperature controlled, that inside environment just won't hold. Next, let's talk about some basic care and restringing tips for your acoustic guitar. You should change your strings when they're feeling dead, when they're sounding dead, or when they lose elasticity. You'll notice yourself losing tune more often. That's a good sign to change your strings. I try to do it every 6 to 8 weeks at minimum. Now that we have the strings off, this is a good time to clean your guitar. Go ahead and use your guitar cleaner. If you have a satin guitar, stop there. If you have a gloss guitar, you can feel free to go to the polish. You don't want to use polish on a satin guitar, as you'll shine it up and it'll lose that satin sheen that it has now. Next up, about once or twice a year, you'll want to go and use the fretboard conditioner to condition the fretboard and the bridge. Next, it's time to put some strings back on your guitar. If you notice your action raising or lowering, primarily during seasonal changes, there's a few things that you can do to get that back in line. The first is to check your truss rod adjustment and make any necessary small adjustments. If you find your action is above PRS spec, it means that your guitar may have too much humidity and the wood may have swollen a little bit. A good way to combat that is to put it in a dry environment for a day or two and see if it comes back down. If you find your action is too low, it may mean that your guitar is too dry and the wood has shrunken back some. If that's the case, get a humidifier, put it in the guitar, put it in the case for a day or two, see if it swells back up. If after all that, your guitar still feels like it's out of spec, please feel free to contact the PTC and we can have more recommendations from there. This has been Skitchy from the PRS PTC. Enjoy your new acoustic guitar. These are one of my favorites.